恭敬大德圣听，为此法会，及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死离苦。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo saranto suchedoye olahuti sammyao samputoshye.
Namo satanto suchedoye arahati sammyao samputoshye.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. Now we come to see it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Alan, your voice has been preserved now for generations on YouTube, singing the Dharma request. I'm sure that's good karma, right? Wowee. All right. Good evening, everybody in Berkeley, California. Good afternoon, everybody here in the Gold Coast. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Sunday, May 26th at 12:38 in the afternoon. It's Saturday, May 25th at 7:38 in Berkeley, California, and wherever you might be listening in around the world via YouTube or however you're listening in, go to meeting. Welcome to our Sutra lecture. We're going to be continuing our investigation of potential of the mind as explained by the Flower Garland Sutra. So that's our goal, and we've got a hookup here so that everybody in Gold Coast can see everybody in Berkeley, and there's a very Avatamsaka kind of subject and object intermingling without obstruction happening here, so it's quite wonderful. All right, first thing we need to do before we begin is to invoke spiritual presence. And I've got the text right here for us. We're going to chant the name of the Flower Garland Sutra, and there's power in names. That's traditional wisdom teaches us that. And by invoking spiritual presence, we invite them into our assembly. And while my ordinary eyes don't see their presence, Master Hua would affirm that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are just waiting for people to remember them and to invite them. as they say, rufa, according to the Dharma, to the traditional way it's done. And when they show up, they bring light, they bring a sense of banishing the darkness and moving our spirits up, taking the weight off. And when the sutra lecture is over, people report feeling renewed, refreshed. Born again Buddhists, right? We're born again. That's our melody. When it's in tune. There we go. Namo Da Fang Guang Fu ING YN I O Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Fu ING YN I O Pu Sa Namo Da ING O Pu Sa Da Fang Guang Fu ING O Pu Sa Da Fang Guang Fu ING O Pu Sa O Pu Sa. Last time. O Da Fang Guang Fu ING So now we move on down in our text to today's lecture, and it's getting kind of exciting. Actually, before we do that, you know what I want to do? I'm going to review. We've been, pardon the scrolling here, that's kind of seasick stuff when you scroll on a computer on the screen. I wanted to, in our explanation of the Vajra Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, which happens every week, we've been reviewing because the teachings on emptiness are, they go down good, but they go down, you have to reset your mind before emptiness and true emptiness and wonderful existence connect. So resetting the mind actually takes effort. People report that contemplating prajna, it's very easy to feel mentally exhausted because it burns energy to contemplate, to move the mind in directions never before fathomed, directions never before calculated and followed. We're breaking new ground in our minds as we understand what exists beyond language and beyond words, beyond thoughts, the language of the mind. So it helps to review. That's the point. Likewise, the Avatamsaka. So here we go. Let me read the Chinese so we keep our formal method. We're going to read 4 lines in Chinese, then let that be our kind of our technique, our rufa method, right? And then we'll switch over to the English and scan down quickly to see where we've been. That's what I want to do first. Okay, here we go. These first 4 lines. Ready? 说此菩萨八地时，如来现大神通力，震动十方诸国度，无量艺术难思议。Here we go. Just then, after the eighth stage had been explained, the Tathagatas showed their amazing spiritual abilities, quaking lands throughout the 10 directions, countless kotis in number and difficult to imagine. All right, we're on the 9th stage of the 10 stages, Flower Garland Sutra, talking about the Bodhisattva. And think of this as what? My explanation, not the only one, but the current one, the one that I'm taking charge of here, treats this whole text like a textbook, like an instruction manual. And the Bodhisattva is in school. He's in an academy. He or she, this is gender neutral, is learning how to be a better Bodhisattva, and the learning is about his or her own mind and its potentials. And it occurred to me today, that's really what the Avatamsaka does for me, is it says, look what the mind can do. These potentials have always been there, these latent abilities, but who explored them? The Buddha. Who bothered to talk about them? The Buddha. And who gets to hear about them after the Buddha explained them? Well, anybody who picks up the text and who can read the language. So that's where Master Hua came in, by saying, I want you to pay attention to this. Here's what it says, translated into English, should you care to do so, because this is good stuff. This is the deepest programming of the human mind and nature. Okay, our Bodhisattva is right there. So we start out, the speaker is Vajra Treasury, Jingangzang Pusa. And he says, we just finished hearing about the 8th stage, and the Buddhas, unsurpassed honored ones, sending forth magnificent light, shining on lands, and the beings there gain peace and happiness. And bodhisattvas, it says, elevated into the air. They took off. That's what bodhisattvas do, and they're sitting in full lotus. And they offered gifts to the ones supreme among all speakers, meaning the Buddhas, who explain what it means to be a complete human being, right? That's the key. This is humanity they're talking about, but a new octave, a new level of human functioning that science doesn't know about, medicine doesn't know about, anthropology doesn't know about, sutras know about it. Now, look what happens next. Celestial maidens, Tian Nu, right? Deva women, millions of kotis in number, filling the sky, their bodies and minds happy as never before, start playing music. So we're hearing Deva music, music from the heavens, music of the gods, and they're using this as an offering to the great guiding master among humans. Okay, at that time, the many varieties of music played in harmony, not in cacophony, not in conflict, but the music and the music totally harmonize. Hundreds of thousands of millions of endlessly many kinds. Jazz, rock and roll, folk, right? Oh my goodness. Broadway musicals and classical symphonies. All through the well-gone one's awesome spiritual power express these sounds of praise and acclaim. What happens next? This is a song. Our sutra gives us a song right here. And it's a long one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stanzas of a god's song. Here's how the gods praise the Buddha. Isn't that neat? Exactly what it says. This is a song sung by Deva women to praise the Buddha. And if you allow me to do it, if you don't mind, I'm going to just read through it. I'll stand in for the Deva women and voice this song. You can judge for yourselves how good they are as songwriters, right? Is this going to make it on the top 40? Here we go. The calm and gentle one, free from defilement and harm, cultivates this practice skillfully wherever he goes. His mind, like empty space, reaches all places in 10 directions, extensively explaining the Buddha's way in awakening all beings. Everywhere in the heavens and among humans as well, he makes adornments appear incomparably fine, all born from the Tathagata's merit and virtue, and inspiring delight for the Buddha's wisdom in those who see them. Without leaving this one place, he travels to many lands as the moon shines everywhere, illumining the world. For him, voices and the mind's thoughts all fall still, just as an echo sounds everywhere through a valley equally, without fail. For living beings whose minds are lowly and base, he explains the practices of a sound hearer. If their minds are sharp and clear and they admire Pratyeka Buddhas, he tells them of the way of the middle vehicle. If they have kindness and compassion and like to benefit others, he tells them of the deeds performed by bodhisattvas. If their minds aspire to the utmost supreme wisdom, he reveals the unsurpassed Dharma of the Tathagatas. Just as a magician conjures up all sorts of things of different shapes and features, yet none of it is real, the bodhisattva's wisdom magic, in the same way, brings everything into being, free from both existence and non-existence. Whoa. I don't know. Is that hip-hop? Maybe hip-hop could get a good beat and bring this forward. That's probably the best genre right now for bringing a song like that up. I mean, how deep can it be? Talking about the Buddha, inconceivable dharmas. And yet there are clues here to how it works. How can the Buddha sit in one place but travel everywhere to lands everywhere all at once at the same time? It's just like the moon, which is one moon in the sky, but if you have 1,000,000 teacups full of tea, you have 1,000,000 moons reflecting in every teacup. Oh, okay, there's a nice natural analogy that kind of I see. Are those moons in the reflection real? Yeah, it's a real reflection. It's not the real moon, but it permeates everywhere. As many teacups of tea as you have, that's how many moons you have. Just the way an echo in a valley touches everywhere at once, so the Buddha can sit in one place and appear before countless living beings. Then it goes on to say he speaks Dharma differently, according to what people can hear. Sound hearer, Pratyeka Buddha, Bodhisattvas, Buddhas. And then, I love this last one. It says, like a magician, makes you see all kinds of things, different shapes and features, yet none of it is real. It's all illusory. And the Bodhisattva's wisdom magic, likewise, brings everything into being, but it exists and doesn't exist. Both are true and neither are true. And you go, I'm tired, that's enough, thank you very much. I'm gonna go get some gelato over on Shattuck Avenue. That's enough, I'm full, thank you very much. But we just began. Really, listening to this Dharma, it's no wonder many of us just nod out immediately, right? This is deep stuff, and yet somehow we recognize it inside as being our birthright. We just haven't slowed down and gotten quiet enough for it to manifest. So as these millions of beautiful sounds finished their praises of the Buddha, they suddenly all fell still. Moon of Liberation said, "We're ready. Tell us about the ninth stage." Whoopee. Vajra Treasury starts to talk. He says, okay, the Bodhisattva uses wisdom to reflect and cultivate. He wishes to initiate a quest for ever more supreme liberation of nirvana. In other words, he wants to become a Buddha himself, but just later. Look what he can do. Here we are in the ninth stage, almost done. If it was school, he's a senior. He's pretty much ready to graduate pretty soon. And look what he can do. He can cultivate the wisdom of a Tathagata, enter the secret Dharma of the Buddhas, contemplate the inconceivable nature of great wisdom, purify the gateways to Dharani and Samadhi, endowed with psychic powers, enter the world systems, cultivate powers, fearless, and special dharmas. That's a list that pops up a lot here. Follow the Buddhas in turning the Dharma wheel, and not abandon the strength of great compassion. With that in mind, master the Bodhisattva's ninth stage of wholesome wisdom. I want to point out one thing that we skipped over. This must have been months ago that we were here at the beginning of the 9th stage. Notice this: not abandon compassionate vows. Why? Why does this come up all the time? Why is the Bodhisattva always encouraged to not abandon living beings and to stay compassionate? As I understand it, it's because at a certain point in your meditation, you're sitting there, you're meditating, and your 6 senses feel very full, it's like you've just eaten a full meal. You're not hungry to get out of meditation and to go bother with the world. What in the world that you could hear, see, smell, taste, touch, or think could be better or more satisfying than the fullness of meditation? Pretty much nothing is the answer to that question. And then it goes empty, and you just see none of it exists at all. Why should I bother? And right at that point, the sutra, or the Buddha himself, comes up and says, hey, don't quit. Don't quit. You've reached this stage of deep zhizu, right? Contentment and self-sufficiency. Living beings have not. People you know and care about are depressed, they're desperate, they're anxious, they're discouraged, they're pondering anything must be better than this pain, and they're looking for a way out. They need you to come talk to them, to inspire them, to remind them that this is not the end of the road. In fact, the road doesn't end. So suicide or oblivion with drugs, it just makes it harder to walk than before. You still have to walk. And if you have to walk having killed yourself or ruined your system on opioids, you still have to walk. Now you have to walk with another handicap. So be patient. Keep going. Wisdom awaits. That's what it means, I think, and why this keeps coming up. It's easy for the Bodhisattva. Any normal person would go, it's just a lot of trouble. I'm happy to meditate. I'm here, I'm fine. The Buddhas say, hey, don't abandon them. Stick with them. They need you, right? So he enters the 9th stage of wholesome wisdom. Okay, here we go. That's the preamble, right? That's what it took to get here. Now, the next chunk of text that we covered has to do with what he's learning here. This is the course work. This is the course load. This is the curriculum of the 9th stage. He's in school. This is what he needs to know. What is it? He, she, either way, knows the reality of practices, Dharma practices. There's a whole list of 10 Dharma practices. Our Bodhisattva learns them. He's a good meditator. I'll just say he, right? You can fill in she if you want. So he knows how all the different stages practice. All the meditation, all the recitation, all the mantras, all the mudras, all the secrets, all the revealed. Everything is clear to the Bodhisattva. He's done it. He's good at it. He mastered it. Good? Yep. Next, turns to living beings, who he will be waking up. This is his future audience, right? For the Dharma teaching he wants to do. What is it? He knows their 10 dense thickets, the brambles, a dense thicket of their afflictions, their karma, their minds, their faculties, their oh my God. He's a good doctor, and he can diagnose where people are stuck. Their minds are just like a dense thicket. They can't, you think you can clarify this, but then this falls off. And then you go pay attention to this, and what was clear over here just gets confused again. It's a dense thicket, always getting pricked by the thorns of that thicket. right? Okay, next, moving on. So he knows practices, he knows living beings' confusion. What else? He knows mental attributes. He knows how their minds work, how thoughts turn. So he's a good neurobiologist. This bodhisattva knows all the realities of how people think. Cool. What else? He knows the attributes of their afflictions. He knows how their thoughts go wrong. Sounds like a doctor, doesn't it? He's like diagnosing all the possibilities of living beings when times get hard. This is the dark side, right? The attribute of disasters of love, views, stupidity, and arrogance that are like an arrow striking deep. This sutra, look at this. The Buddhist sutra goes to the dark side, where it hurts the most, because that's where the bodhisattva is needed. This bodhisattva is there to really engage with all the shadows of the mind and bring them to light, because that's where the work is needed. How interesting. This is very much like a medical manual, right? This illness will occur. Okay, he knows the various, what's an attribute? It's the appearance, right? The quality of karma. Good karma, bad karma, indeterminate karma. All the aspects of karma. What is this? Action. He sees what living beings do. 10 kinds. Cool. He knows the attributes of their faculties. What's their potential? Are they sharp? Are they dull? Are they sometimes sharp, sometimes dull? Do they get it? Do they forget it? Are they quick? Are they slow? Superior, middling, inferior? He knows, as they really are, up to 84,000 kinds. Why? He's training. The Bodhisattva is training to teach. He knows how they can understand. Are they weak? Are they average? Are they superior? What do they cling to? Do they interact or not interact with the mind? He's going into the subtle places. Do they have habits that oppose meditation? Are they allergic to meditation? He better know, because he's going to be sitting in meditation class teaching them. Oh, my goodness. Attributes that are solid and hard to cure. Are they stubborn? He wants to know. The attributes that they bring with them as they leave one body and move to the next body. How about that? This bodhisattva follows us through different births. Isn't that interesting? How this bodhisattva has got such a, well, first of all, the assumption that this sutra is based on reincarnation. It is. This is the mother of all texts talking about rebirth, right? Metempsychosis, all these words that we have in the West, kind of skirting around rebirth and kind of pushing it off like astrology and palmistry and numerology and tarot, but we're fascinated by it. I know my past births, past lives. I was Cleopatra, I was Caesar, I was Shakespeare, I was a dung beetle, I was a mosquito on the body of a dung beetle. Here it is. The sutra says, right, this bodhisattva can see what you were like in a past life and what came across to the next life, because he's going to follow you through the 6 destinies until we wake up. Are you reassured? Is that security? Should be some comfort there, knowing that Bodhisattva is determined to wake us up. Okay, then look at this, habits. He's aware of things that we do by habit, just because it's the way it's always been done. It's the way it feels right, because he needs to get us to counter our habits, to do things that don't feel comfortable at first, but in fact put us back on the Tao, back in the middle. He needs to know that. Good doctor, good bodhisattva. Okay, Then it shifts to Chungqing meditation. Now he needs to teach us how to meditate correctly, and 邪定, wrong meditation. What kind of training is this? It's amazing training, right? If you went through this course and knew everything that the Bodhisattva is learning on the ninth stage, you would be able to really, really help people you care about. You want to help them. Okay. The attribute of wrong meditative focus and profound attachment to wrong dharmas. Tax breaks. Trickle down. Yeah. A tax break, that'll help the country get back on the path, right? Hasn't worked so far. Disciples of the Buddha, the Bodhisattva who accords with wisdom such as this, lives on the stage of Shan Hui Di, wholesome wisdom. That's the name of our ninth stage. Once he or she abides here, lives here, he can know the difference in living beings' practices. He can teach them and attune them and help them get free. Love it. Okay, our Bodhisattva is good at talking about voice hearers, solitary Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Buddhas. He can speak Dharma for living beings, correspond with their practices to match their faculties, natures, preferences, and understandings. Okay, this is the first time in our text so far that we've heard about his ability to teach. From now on, it shifts. Everything that we heard before was kind of like deep analysis of living beings, of us, deep analysis of what it means to be a human, a person, in a body, confused, kind of, they say, lost in the long night, right? Trying to find our way out and unable to get the right direction. We walk in circles. We're back to where we started. We're more confused than before. That's us. The Bodhisattva knows everything about us. And now he's going to put that knowledge to use. Watch. He can speak Dharma to match our ability to hear. He wants us to bring forth faith and understanding to increase our wisdom so that we all get free in the context of our own ability, the path that we're already walking. Okay, now we hear for the first time the Bodhisattva who stays here is called a Da Fa Shi, a great master of Dharma, a Dharma master. Okay, now what else happens right here? 4 types of unobstructed eloquence. This is our new topic. Here's where the Bodhisattva gets what's called 辩才无碍, 无碍辩才. The sutra calls it unobstructed wisdom, but it's the same 4. And we hear about 4 kinds of wisdom, and then we hear about these 10 different ways. So the next chunk of text has to do with the 9th stage being about eloquence. What is eloquence? The ability to speak. Why? Da Fa Shi, big Dharma master. He's a real teacher. She's a real teacher. She can use the gift of speech to help us wake up so we get free. So far, so good. Everybody like, this structure kind of makes it clear, right? So what are the 4? Unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, meanings, phrases, and this thing called delight in speaking. It's the joy of speech itself. So that when we hear it, your hearts light up. Okay. And we launch into 10 kinds. Unobstructed wisdom of dharmas, meanings, phrasing, delight in speech, knows the differences, speaks without error, speaks clearly in every world, according to what beings delight in, that's how he speaks, or she, knows that differences are not different. He sees differences as they really are. He uses worldly wisdom to speak with differences, right? He's not limited to special Buddhist jargon. You can say it in words you understand. And he uses wisdom in the primary sense to speak as needed, just enough, not too much, in the language you understand. We have a friend who is from Shanghai, and we were laughing because we were in the car with him the other day, and we were speaking in English and occasionally using Mandarin, which everybody in the car could speak. But then the guy's mom called on the phone. This is down in Sydney. And of course, mom speaks Shanghai Hua, Shanghainese, right? And so our friend, with whom we were speaking in English and Mandarin, launched into the language that he spoke as a baby from his earliest childhood, because he was talking to mom all the time. We didn't understand a word. I'm speaking for everybody in the car. Shanghai Hua. Do you understand Shanghai Hua, Sam? No, none of us. Like, 说啥的？说什么？听不懂。わかりませんね。よくわかりません。Didn't understand a word he said. And he just shifted back. Oh, that was my mom. Okay, she's fine. No, she had a question about lunch. It's like, oh, that's what you were talking about, right? So just the slightest little twist, and there's no understanding. 讲不通了，听不懂。哎呀，je comprends pas rien, je comprends rien, right? Not a word. Wow. So how funny, how subtle, how fragile is communication? It's just a thin veneer of sounds and meaning and phrasing, and we lose it all or we get it back. This bodhisattva can do it in a blink for a living being. Okay. More. Explains clearly with supreme and limitless Dharma. He knows a one vehicle, all vehicles. Bodhisattva's wisdom practices, Dharma practices, and wisdom certificate, right? Right? Remember this? We did this last couple of weeks. He knows how Buddhas get enlightened in a single thought, times, places, and so forth. With the unobstructed wisdom of delight in speaking, the Dharma in each and every sentence could be spoken of for limitlessly many eons without coming to an end. Like Master Zhizhe Dashi explained the word meow for 49 days. Oh, how wonderful. He explained the word wonderful, and nobody got tired. They just ordered more pizza. Come on, bring it in. No garlic, no onions. Bring it in the pizza. Let's listen to Shifu. He's not done yet. We're on day 26, and he's still going. More pizza. Bring some ice cream next time, too. So he knows these special dharmas going on. 84,000 differences in the minds, practices, faculties, and understandings of sentient beings. Okay. He uses the Tathagata's pure practice of wisdom to speak completely according to the beliefs and understandings of sentient beings. Now, I want to make this point. Even though he's expedient, he can tailor it to your belief in every single case. He takes it back to the nature, right? With that in mind, the Shindi Faman, the mind ground Dharma, this makes sense. Although he can be talking in an entirely different language base, talking to farmers over here who work the land and watch nature go through its seasons. Over here, he's talking to intellectuals who never leave four walls and a roof. They haven't touched dirt in their lives. And yet he can, to each one of their understandings, get them to let go of their attachments and to seek the Dharma with vigor. Disciples of the Buddha. Here's the summary. The Bodhisattva who abides on the ninth stage gets unobstructed wisdom of expedient skills, gets the Tathagata's storehouse of wondrous Dharma, and becomes a great Dharma master. Okay, that's our summary. We're almost done. Our review is almost done. Last week we heard about Dharani. Bodhisattva gets Dharanis. So look at all he's absorbed as he's preparing to teach, right? All of this has been, his education has not been wasted. And a power arises, a function arises from within called Toloni Dongshi, it's called. And this Toloni ability is like a samadhi from inside. It's like wisdom. It's like prajna from inside. Suddenly he can do more than he could do before. He's ready now, and something has emerged. It's like shentong, right? What is shentong? Well, not what you think. If you follow the Avatamsaka Sutra, psychic powers emerge from within. They were there latent before, now they emerge. And you can do things that to the world seems impossible, but it's a natural process that was always there. Dharani is the same. He gets the perfection of hundreds of thousands of asamkhyas, of gateways of Dharani such as these. He proclaims the Dharma using hundreds of thousands of asamkhyas of gateways to eloquence with skillfully expedient voices. Oh boy. Last week we ended with this one. Once the Bodhisattva realizes these gateways to Dharani, he comes in front of many Buddhas and hears them all speak the Dharma. And his ability to speak arises from his ability to hear. So every phrase of Dharma the Bodhisattva hears, he remembers. He doesn't forget it, and he expresses it for others using limitlessly many distinct methods. Okay, there we go. Everybody, so far so good. If I was Doug Powers, I'd go, y'all get that? Y'all understand that y'all go, we all good? Y'all, you got that much, right? And Doug has been explaining some profound, abstruse Hegelian principle, and we're all going, no, Doug, tell us a story. I need to hear a story, right? Okay, right at this point, if it was a podcast, we would play some music. Exercise the right brain, and the left brain goes, Now I digested that, thank you. Okay, why did we review all this? Because what's about to happen is like too miraculous in our sutra. What's about to happen in the sutra is like too far out. The claims the sutra makes are impossible to ordinary knowing and seeing. Right? Miraculous things are about to happen. And by reviewing, we follow the line. There's a line through the text. It didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of somewhere. And it's sequential, it's progressive, it's step by step, yibu, step by step. And when you could say the entree, the main course, the zhu cai of this chapter emerges, I want people to see it in the context that has been presented, and then take that and plug it in to your state and understand how this is possible for ordinary meditators like you and me to consider the possibility that I too might have this amazing ability. The only reason we don't is because nobody mentioned it before. And seeing is believing, right? Seeing is believing. Hearing is believing. We see it and hear it. Oh, it exists. Oh, maybe me too. Right? Before that, it was like a fairy tale. It's like impossible. No way. But once you you connect it to where it came from. You see the root, you see the branch tip. Oh, I see it. The sutra is what? It's a map. A 地图. What's a map? Well, here's this city, here's that city, in between's a river, a valley, a mountain. If you go this way, you go from here to there. That's how you do it. And it exists, right? So it's not that it didn't exist before, but you didn't have a map before. And we have a good guide. We have the Buddha and Master Hua, who said, Avatamsaka Sutra, pay attention. He would explain it and he would go, 谁有什么问题没有啊？你们没有问题，我就要问问题哦。Who has any questions? If you don't ask questions, I'm going to ask you. You better ask. And then we would. And sometimes Shifu would be harsh in his answer. He would go, that's a stupid question. No, he wouldn't do it like that. But sometimes he would like come down on you because why? You weren't really asking. You hadn't thought about it. You were just responding to him. And then other times he would say, well, so-and-so Guo, somebody asked this question, what do you all think? He would immediately, right, ping pong, knock the ball back across the net, and you'd go, well, I actually sure who I thought this. And he would go, well, is that a good answer? What do you all what do you think? He would pick on somebody. And you would be nodding, oh, Shifu called my name. I better, no, I don't think, I disagree, Shifu. And you know, because every night, and we'd been up since 4 a.m, and it'd been a long day, and we're cold, but there was, Shifu would, you know, put this circle of light around Gold Mountain Monastery and city of 10,000 Buddhas, and it was joyful and important to engage with the sutra as if it mattered to you. And bit by bit, it did. Bit by bit, it came alive. It stood up and walked around the room, and you could feel like, yeah, well, a bodhisattva in the 9th stage is a great Dharma master. Maybe I could be a Dharma master too, you know. If you have an outfit, you can be a cowboy too. If you have a jiasha, you can be a Dharma master too, right? So, yeah, and that's it, you know, it came alive, and Shifu would keep it lively and make us laugh at ourselves, and there was always a feeling of humor and community. We were all doing it together and kind of listening to each other and laughing at our inability to understand, because why, this is deep and profound and weird. This is weird stuff we're talking about. And yet there's nothing closer to us. There's nothing more familiar than your mind right this minute. What are you doing with your mind? Well, thinking about whether the gelato shop will still be open when the lecture's over. Probably not. They shut down around, if you quick. Maybe you can slip out a little 5 minutes early. Is the Dharma master going to tell stories or sing? Maybe if he quits early, we can get to the shop. That's what I'm doing with my mind. What are you doing with your mind? Well, I'm imagining myself to be an Avatamsaka Bodhisattva on the 9th stage. What else is there? There's one more to go, the 10th stage. Oh my goodness. What's waiting? Well, you know. Okay, enough goofing around. Let's get into it. What happens next? By golly. Ready? We're in today's opening section. Here it is. Let me bring it down. There we go. Right there. Now let's do it. Oh, good. Okay, fits on the page. There we go. Ready? Yep. Close you, and there we go. 此菩萨初见于佛头顶礼敬，其于佛所得无量法门，此所得法门，非彼温持诸大声闻于百千劫所能领受。此菩萨得如是陀罗尼，如是无碍智，作于法座而说于法。大千世界满中众生，随其行要，差别未说， 唯除诸佛及受至菩萨，其余众会唯得光明，无能于彼。Upon first seeing a Buddha, this bodhisattva bows in respect, and in that Buddha's presence immediately realizes limitlessly many gateways to Dharma. The gateways to Dharma he attains could not be realized by any of the great voice hearers, using their methods of hearing and practicing, even during hundreds of thousands of eons. Having realized these dharanis and this unobstructed wisdom, the bodhisattva sits on the seat of Dharma and explains the Dharma. He speaks individually to the sentient beings who fill the large thousand-world universe, speaking to each according to whatever their minds find delightful. In terms of the radiance of their awesome virtue, nobody else in the assembled multitudes, except the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who have been appointed to their positions, can compare with him or her. Okay, today, first thing, a Buddha is there, Bodhisattva comes and bows down. With that bow, things open up. Realizing gateways to Dharma, things connect. He sees it. He sees his nature. And it says these are special dharmas. Beings who are only interested in their own liberation fall short. Having realized these, the dharanis and the wisdom, the bodhisattva sits on a dharma seat and explains the Dharma. He's the speaker now. He speaks to beings everywhere throughout the universe, the large thousand-world universe, Sanqian Daqian Shijie. That's the cosmos from the Buddhist point of view. And he uses his new abilities to speak to them however they enjoy it. In terms of the radiance of their virtue, nobody else in the multitudes except Buddhas and Bodhisattvas appointed to their positions, that's to say the great Bodhisattvas, can compare with him. Watch this next sentence. 此菩萨处于法座，于一因，令诸大众皆得皆了，悉得皆了。With this, when this bodhisattva takes his seat of Dharma, he can, with a single utterance, bring everyone gathered there to understanding. Okay, this is the new part. We've now started. This is what I meant. This impossible, seeming miraculous miracle, kind of unbelievable ability. This is now starting. From now on to the end of our text, this is what's going to be developed. And it's marvelous. I've got it and you got it. With a single sound, E, U, E, E in one sound, A, A, E, I, O, U, U, A, U, Y, Wei, right? Po, po, mo, fo. The Bodhisattva uses a single sound and everybody there understands. Now, in the Buddhist Dharma Assembly, there are, right? Here. Here's our Dharma Assembly. Here's my Duke. Okay, let me bring this up. We got, nope. Let's open this guy. I want to show you what a Dharma Assembly looks like. Here's what it looks like. Here's a Dharma Assembly. Let's speak Dharma for everybody there. First of all, here's a Buddha, the Buddha. Behind him here, those are his Arhat disciples. Got their palms together. Notice they don't have halos. These are the ordinary bhikshus. Okay, who else is there? Oh my goodness. Look who's flying through the air. Deva women. They have just now praised the Buddha with their music. This guy is bringing in some pizza. There it is, pizza delivery coming to the air. Maybe it's an Amazon drone, right? Bringing your pizza down. Here we go. Okay, who's this? Oh my goodness. That doesn't look human. He's got a Vajra. That's a Vajra power knight. Jinggang Li Shi. That's a spirit. Speak Dharma for the disciples, devas, and Vajra power knights. What languages do I use? Oh, too late. You can't use Google Translator. Look, these are bodhisattvas over here with their halos, their palms together. They speak another. Oh, look down here. We have a Confucian scholar. He slipped in. That's probably the donor of the printing. He slipped himself, or his brother-in-law, he needed a favor from him, so he's pai ma pi by sticking him in here. Behind him are little attendants, cooks, and calligraphers, and his sister-in-law who's come, and their kids, right? Look over here. Oh, look at the feet, the bare feet of this Vajra spirit. Oh my goodness. There's an animal. That's a lion, I think, or a Subashang. He's got his tongue out. That's a derpy lion. Look at that, right? He's got this big lion's tail, and he's here sniffing Venerable Subhuti's precept sash. And maybe he's going to go take a nap right here on his bowing cloth. But that's great. We got animals here in the Buddhist Dharma Assembly, keeping the order, protecting the Dharma, making everybody laugh because they're so cute. And the Buddha's speaking Dharma for everyone. Right? Wow. Jishu Guduyan, there it is right there in the Jade Grove. There aren't any birds in the picture, but maybe there are in here somewhere. Okay, there we go. Imagine speaking Dharma for everybody at once. 佛以一音而说法，众生随类各得解. The Buddha speaks Dharma with a single sound, but all living beings each hear it according to their species. Right? Why? Dharani is the reason. Because of this power of what's called Dharani, right? Now, here's a Buddha meditating in Queensland in the bush, right? See the gum trees in the background? And the Buddha is speaking Dharma for all the turkeys who will walk by this evening looking for birdseed, and the parrots that come and sit on his shoulders, and the lorikeets, and the kookaburras, and the currawongs, and the doves, and the pigeons. My goodness. Speaking Dharma for all those living, and for us in English. The Buddha speaks English. Imagine. Now, right? How about that? Okay. When this Bodhisattva takes his seat of Dharma, he can, with a single utterance, bring everybody gathered there to understanding. Furthermore, 或是欲以种种音声令诸大众皆得开悟. At other times, he uses myriad utterances to bring everyone in the crowd to awakening, right? What does he do? Right? Claps his hands. Oh, what was that? What was that? I heard something, right? Did you wake up? No, it's obnoxious. Clap your hands. What else? 或是心欲放大光明，演说法门. At times, he radiates great light to express the methods of Dharma practice. Okay, now, if you engage with that sentence, either you have to think it's an analogy or you take it as literal. Other parts of the sutra talk about the heavens called the Suyama heavens, Yemotian. And in the Suyama heavens, the Devas use light for language. They're above the sun and moon. They're above the level of the sun and moon. And so there's no ambient light in this area of the desire heavens. So The Devas use lights as speech. The Buddha can do it. The Buddha speaks Deva, right? He speaks God talk. So he radiates great light to express methods of Dharma practice. 或是心欲与其身上一一毛孔，皆得结言法音。Sometimes he proclaims the sounds of Dharma from each and every skin pore on his body. How about that? Wait. Come back here. Did you notice that in this woodcut, there's lots of ambient lines, right? What are all these lines doing? So all this, the artist is trying to, like these up here and these here. Those are clouds. Devas travel in clouds. But mind you, it's two-dimensional, right? There's just 2 degrees here. It's not 3D. There's nothing deeper or shallower. But there's a sense of something filling the space. Could our artist, maybe this artist here, I think this is his name, Zhang Lao. Oh, this is Zhang Lao Shuputi. There's a caption here. There's something going on here in the Buddha's assembly that's radiating. There's just a feeling of so much going on. And while people don't look, there's not like, the animals look happiest, right? There's a smile on the lion's face. Everybody else looks kind of awesome. Here's somebody chatting. There's always somebody giving an aside to somebody else, right? You know, wise comments, smarting off. Yeah. But there's a lot of invisible activity in the air in the Buddhist Dharma Assembly. His skin pores are making sounds of Dharma. Dig it. 或是心欲乃至3000大千世界所有一切行无行物，皆悉演出妙法言音。At other times, he makes objects, both formed and formless, throughout the threefold, large, thousand-world universe, proclaim the sounds of the wondrous Dharma. Can you imagine? What would that be like? Here's a formed object. Namo Quan Shu Yin Bodhisattva. Namo Quan Shu Bodhisattva. Namo Shu Yin Bodhisattva. Namo Quan Shu Bodhisattva. Namo Quan Shu Yin Bodhisattva. Namo Quan Shu Bodhisattva. One yin bodhisattva, 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 one yin bodhisattva. Did you all kai wu? Did you all feel more compassionate? Right? So, you know, it could be a bell. Bing! And the wonderful Dharma just flows forth. Could be a wooden fish. And we hear it and we wake up. For Master Empty Cloud, for Master Shuyan, it was a teacup. A teacup, right? That's a formed object that deformed. Once it broke, it was no longer useful as a teacup, but it sure did its job. It woke him up. He said, I've awakened from a dream, he said. 或是心于法一言因，周遍法界，悉令皆了。At times he utters a single sound that pervades throughout the Dharma realm, bringing all to understanding. I'm writing a book together with my colleague Steve Boffman called Meditation performance and mindfulness for musicians, right? Meditation for musicians. And one of the things we talk about is when you make a sound, where does it stop, right? Where does it stop vibrating? Here we go, ready? How far does that go? Does it go to Brisbane? Does it go south to Melbourne? Does it touch the Great Barrier Reef off of Cairns? Darwin? Where does that go? Maybe all the way down to Christchurch, Auckland. Yeah. So you wonder, the sounds that we make with our instruments, with our voices, where do they stop? Good question. 或是心欲一切言音，皆作法音，恒住不灭。 At other times, he makes all sounds whatsoever become sounds of Dharma, abiding constantly and never stopping. Cool. Okay, think of that. What is it? Our Bodhisattva, when he gets to Dharani, he has now a profound understanding of vibration and its effect. Right? Think of a pianist. So, my goodness, 88 keys. Minor key, major key, right? And people's hearts open and tears come out of their eyes of truck drivers, people who never cried in years. When they hear skillful fingers on a piano keyboard, they're able to feel things move inside that they haven't ever felt before. It's a reason why that instrument has been in our world for so many centuries. 或是心欲一切世界消敌钟鼓，即以歌咏一切乐声，结言法音。 Sometimes he makes the musical sounds in all worlds, be they reeds, flutes, bells, drums, or songs and hymns, express the sounds of Dharma. Okay. Meditation with musicians, right? The musicians learn to meditate. And the meditators learn to be musical. So how wonderful is that? There it is, right up front. The Bodhisattva can use music to speak the Dharma. People hear it and they're renewed, they're refreshed, they're reassured, they're made courageous where they were afraid. They're made mellow where they were angry. They're made round where they were jagged. Music has that power, right? They're inspired where they were discouraged. What else? 或是心欲于一字中，一切法句言音区别，皆悉具足。 Sometimes he fills a single syllable full of all the many sounds, words, and phrases of the Dharma. They say, Dr. Konza used to talk about this, that the deepest level of prajna paramita literature is the syllable ah, single vowel, ah. The Bodhisattva's wisdom brings all of the largest Buddha Sutra, the Moha Boro Bolo Mido Jing, alive from a single syllable. Ah. All it takes if you have the requisite wisdom. 或是心欲令不可说无量世界地水火风四大具中所有微尘一一尘中皆悉演出不可说法门，如是所念一切随心无不得者。 Sometimes he makes all the fine particles of dust and all the great accumulations of earth, water, fire, and air in more world systems than could be described from within each mode of dust, proclaim indescribably many gateways to the Dharma. Everything happens according to his thoughts, without exception. Wowee. There you go. Isn't that neat? That's our power of Dharani in the 9th stage. And you see how I gave us the introduction so that this would not just drop out of the sky and be like unbelievable, so we reject it. Can't imagine it, so it doesn't exist, right? No, this came from somewhere. This is still cause and effect. It's not magic. The Bodhisattva is not a Superman woman. He's not a superhero. He's a human who has developed his mind according to the teachings of the Buddha, who did it before him, and who has a purpose for it. I think that's really key. The intention here is not to be powerful, to be extraordinary. The intention is to help. He wants to wake us up, to set us free from whatever is we can't let go of, right? And now he's got some real amazing abilities to do it. That inspire anybody to pick up their mandolin and really plug in to learning how to play it, or your ukulele, or your guitar, or your clarinet, or your drum, or your piano, right? Think about that. A pianist who, before he or she begins, has a score. Let's say it's Liszt, right? We got a Liszt composition, Franz Liszt, notoriously difficult. And if you've ever looked at a score, a piano score, there's one staff that is for one hand, and there's another staff for the other hand, and they're equally dense. And the pianist has to be able to train this hand to do this, and then independently, this hand has to do that. Sometimes they cross over. They're going at the same time. And starting from zero, you think, no, impossible, right? But from the point of view of the pianist, it's a gradual process. You learn to read, you learn the rests, you learn how to use the pedals, you learn to count, you put the melody in your mind, you get to a place where you can take the score and set it down, and all these sounds come out. Your brain, your mind is able to operate independently. Left hand, right hand. And yet you're still an ordinary person who has to, eat, sleep, as always, get dressed, as always. But you have this ability because you learned how to do it. And the potential was there, but it waited to be trained. So the Bodhisattva is the very same way. For a pianist to sit down and play Liszt, right, the transcendental etudes, it's next to impossible. It seems humanly impossible to do all that. And yet someone who has done that training with tremendous talent, mind you, can make such a thing seem possible. And we listen and we're inspired and tamed and subdued, right? So, and yet it's just from that person's point of view, yeah, I remember the day I first opened that folio and my teacher said, now try this. So, and now they're playing it without even looking at the music. Amazing, amazing. Okay, any comments or questions? Who's got some feedback? Jerry, anybody online, or is that Locke today? Locke's on. Anybody? How many people are listening in, Locke, on our various systems here?
阿弥陀佛法师。
Hi, is that Ihuan? Hi,
Yes,
got a question?
Yes, it's a translation question. So on the page 78, the Chinese language part, so there's a list of 或时心欲. So English translate as at times he something something, he verb and something something. So Fashi, may I learn from you why you translate as the he and not to use the heart or mind here? Because the 心 is recur.
it's right here. Just a moment. Bring it back up. So Yihuan was pointing to, we just had 10 of these. Again, did you all notice? Did you all count to 10? Are you used to that now? So, 或是欲以, right? Your question had to do with this character. Is that right? You want to say it again, Yihuan?
Yes, because as we see on the silver screen, there's a list of 心欲, 心欲, 心欲. So it's not only
Right.
Because the translations use he instead of the heart. Want to do this. I want to learn from Fa Shi that when you translate this sentence, how you made the decision not to translate heart but translate he.
Good question. So let's take an example. Yihuan is asking, as a translator, she herself is a translator, and it's a question about, for example, let's bring up a blank piece of, there we go. So if we had this, for example, made it big, really big, literal translation would be maybe, or at times, or perhaps, mind wants, let's see, release big light radiance. Okay, that would be a word for word translation of 或是心欲. All right, notice there's no pronoun. And for all of the 10 examples here, did those go away? What did I do with that? Come back. Oh, sorry, I sent it away. There's no pronoun in any of these 10. We don't know who. The answer to the question who is back here, 此菩萨. This bodhisattva, sitting on his Dharma seat, Ian wants to, with a single sound, make living beings get it. He wants us all to understand. Okay, so there's yu. Now, the reason why I translated it without the mind wants is because it's boilerplate. It occurs 10 times. You see, over and over again. And so it can be understood. We're talking about the same thing without a break through all 10. The subject is the bodhisattva, but it doesn't repeat. So this word yu is, this word right here, yu, is the word used for desire, fourth tone. 五欲, 5 desires. And in Buddhism, the way the Buddha described it, the 5 desires are a problem. That's what causes us to suffer over and over again, because they carry us out. So for sure, I wanted to avoid saying mind desires, right? I wanted to get past that problem. And instead, is there a way to, since there's no pronoun mentioned, he, the bodhisattva, it's understood. And to avoid yu, mind wants, you can also mean desire, likes, pleases, wants, noun, a desire. So it can be a verb. These are verbs, right? Same word, yu, can be these two very different functions in Chinese. So it gives us a lot of space to interpret the way we want to. Okay, I interpreted it this way. He, the Bodhisattva, I just avoided it entirely and went right to the verb. We don't have to say mind wants. Go to the concrete verb. Notice, so Yihuan, just remove this out of each sentence, and you still get the complete meaning, and it's more concise, it's more concrete, it's more active when you have fang, yan, yan chu, fa, right? You see, instead of repeating that boilerplate 10 times, you move, it's understood. You understand it's mind wants, but without it, the Bodhisattva is doing these things more directly. So it's a, what do you say, it's a choice that the translator makes, and I chose to go to the verb right away. Do you accept that, or what would you do differently? What's your thought on that?
I totally understand. I should try to avoid that, because usually when people see that character, usually go to the desire in a negative way. But in the sutra, Buddhist sutra, also Buddha talk about 善法欲, the wholesome desire. For example, the desire to learn Dharma or to listen to the Dharma talk. So because tonight I'm like, wow, so rich from the beginning when Fashi take us to review from the very beginning to now. I'm like, wow, this Bodhisattva 善慧地 is like, wow, goodness, understanding this attribute and his wisdom is like almost perfect. But then now we have this heart suddenly appear. I'm like, oh, suddenly we have that kind of sentimental part, something appearing from my eye. So I'm like, oh, maybe the heart can be translated, because that gives the reader a sense of, besides of the wisdom part, also the Bodhisattva need to have that sentimental or the compassion part, as Fashi just said. This Bodhisattva, when they cultivate the wisdom, but cannot abandon to cultivate the compassion. So
yeah, all that's all good. So the sutra lets you interpret that way and this way too. He's not perfect, because why? This is number 9. He doesn't get perfect till after 10. So stick with us. Let's see if you're saying the same thing in a year, because it'll be a year before we're at 10, okay? So we missed you, Yihuan and Alan. Boy, Alan requests Dharma and Yihuan interprets the text. What that tells me is real support, and I really appreciate it. We missed you guys. You're up north in Ukiah, and you're not here, every night listening to the Dharma. So keep plugging away, and I totally welcome questions like that, because it's really hands, eyes, ears, head, working on the sutra. And after we're done, somebody will take it up and make it better than we did. Counting on that. Okay, let's see here. Locke told me that there are 42 people listening online. How many in China, Cliff? How many do we have here?
36.
36. How about that? Great. Using the gift of technology, we are going truly around the world. My Vajra Sutra lecture we had 40 from truly around the planet, from Hanoi to Dublin to Warsaw to Melbourne, north, south, east, west, up and down. Using technology, people are listening to the Dharma. Alrighty. Let's see. Jinfo Shi, you're the monk wearing the robe. You want to tell us? I can see right behind you there is a wonderful Buddha house. So you had Buddha bathing. Is that today or tomorrow?
Today. That is today. Yeah,
That's today. How'd it go? Buddha's birthday.
Pretty good. So we almost the inside dining hall and outside the parking lot almost full. So the people were not. So they
so
joined.
Everybody bathed the Buddha. The Buddha must be really clean, right?
Yes.
洗的浴佛浴的好干净哦。
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the
Buddha would say, "I'm never dirty and I'm never clean." That's a distinction that you make, living being. So, okay. 还有什么？明天都念佛吗？
明天是八关斋戒 8 precepts. So from 8 o'clock. So
8 o'clock, the Eightfold
yeah.
Precepts at Berkeley. Anybody hearing it? 需不需要报名啊？
最好是报名，因为我们比较知道说有这个多少人吃饭，yeah， 所以还有在Memorial Day 是还有一天礼拜一，我们也有念佛，从8点念到4点半，yeah。
Okay, so there's on Monday is Memorial Day. There's going to be another Buddha recitation from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
great. Okay.
Yeah, that 这个是最近的，然后我们6月10、15、16 Saturday Sunday 我们有那个 family camp 在 BBM 这边，也是欢迎来假设可以就是在网上都可以报名的。
Okay. Family camp. Do they go to berkeleymonastery.org? Is that the place?
Yeah.
去哪里报名？
在网上可以报名，应该有
我们的网站啊。
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So there'll be a family camp coming up.
Yeah.
Check it out on berkeleymonastery.org.
还有
Lovely.
Yeah.
还有
6月9日CDTV 那边上人涅槃纪念日，这个是大日，所以就是也是希望大家能够去参加。
那是哪一天呢？6
月9号礼拜天，6月9号。Yeah.
The 9th of June, a Sunday, Master Hua's Nirvana remembrance, the Nirvana observance. People can go take part. That's usually the biggest holiday of the year. So biggest event of the year. More people come. Yep. All righty. Good stuff. Okay, so we'll conclude now, and I'm going to be back in Berkeley in a very few weeks. So all of this technology will rest until the following November when we pick it up again. We appreciate everybody's efforts in making it possible. Sam and Cliff are working hard to translate the lecture and send it across to China, and opening up new doors for people to hear the Dharma. So looking forward to seeing everybody soon back in Berkeley. I'll be sad to leave Gold Coast, but I'll be back soon. So here's our transference, our dedication of merit. I prepared some stories today. We'll keep them for next week. Okay, here we are, dedication of merit. Bring up my rain song guitar. Send your wish out. May I really minds as one and radiant with light. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and grief. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Thank you all for joining. See you next week. Amen.